So yesterday we have discussed about callbacks, right? Today, let us discuss about promises. So yesterday we have discussed about callbacks and callback hell, right? Both were clear.
Yeah.
So
Callback hell.
Callback and callback hell.
A little bit.
So, what happened?
A little bit call stack also.
That was event loop. Okay. So today we will discuss about promises in JavaScript. So in JavaScript, callbacks were used to handle async. However, callbacks are functionality. So promises were introduced to cater to these problems. So yesterday we have discussed that with callback, there was a problem that it was getting stuck. So to handle this, JavaScript developers developed something called promises.
Promises.
Okay. So
Create a simple promise.
So for example, if I take this example, so first understand what is a promise. So basically you can consider promise as an operation which will either be successful or fail. Okay. So basically it has two things. One is called resolve. Well, no, that is.
Okay. Yes.
One is called resolve and one is called reject.
Reject.
So either a promise will be resolved, it means the promise is successful, or the promise will be rejected. It means the promise is unsuccessful.
Yeah.
Okay. So how to make a promise now? So it's a very easy syntax. Const my promise equals to new promise. Promise is a keyword in JavaScript.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this new promise, and inside this function, we can make a arrow function which will have two parameters. One is resolve and one is reject. Now inside this function, we can do all the asynchronous operation want. Okay. So and we can resolve. So for example, let me resolve something, maybe foo. Okay. So it means this promise is returning a string that is foo. Okay. Now to use this promise, what we can do, my promise and then dot then. Like this. So if a promise is successful, if a promise is resolving, then the flow will go inside this then. Otherwise, we can have something called dot catch. If a promise is unsuccessful, if it is a failure, then it will go inside this catch. Okay. So in our case, we are doing a successful operation. We are resolving it. So it will be a successful. So if I console.log res here, it will give me foo. So you can see foo is getting returned.
Yes.
Why? Because we are resolving. So when a promise is resolved, when a promise is successful, then this dot then block will be executed, not dot catch. only this then block will be executed. Similarly, if I reject here, if inside from the promise I reject, then dot catch block will be executed. Actually, I should
Yeah, you should, yeah, change.
E double R like this. So you can see it is going inside this error block.
Error.
This dot catch block. Why? Because this promise is unsuccessful. It is a failure, reject. Okay, so always remember a promise has 3 states. So if I go to the documentation, so one is either it is fulfilled, that is resolved, or either it is rejected. If a promise is resolved or successful, then dot then block will be executed. If a promise is unsuccessful or failure, then this reject block, dot catch block will be executed.
Okay.
Okay, so basically what happens whenever you are making an API call? For example, let us take the same example. I am making one API call using fetch. And this is my URL, http localhost 3000 / something. So this API call will return a promise. So you can place dot then here. Okay. Similarly, you can place a dot catch here. So if from the API you are getting a successful response, if your API is successful, then this dot then block will be executed. Otherwise, dot catch block will be executed.
Yep.
Okay. And the important thing is this dot then again returns a promise. And this is called promise chaining. So this you can place again dot then. Okay, then again dot then. Okay, so this dot then block returns a promise, and this is called promise chaining.
Promise chaining. All right.
Okay. So if I go to this will be a good URL, MDN docs. So pending, fulfilled, and rejected. These are the 3 steps. So you can see my promise. It was a promise which was dot then, again dot then, again dot then.
Yeah.
Okay. So dot then again returns a promise.
And we can, yeah, right there is end of block. There is catch method also. Yeah.
Yes, right.
Yes. Then after that,
And after then
catch
dot
block.
catch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is how we can use this promise. Okay. Resolve is it means it is a successful. Reject means the promise is a failure.
Yeah.
Okay. So callback, then came promise, and after promise the thing that came, and that is actually very important and a lot used in Node.js as well as in JavaScript also, and that is called async await. So async await is a lot easier than promise, callback, everything. Okay,
This one is alternative for promise, or
Yeah, it can be used as an alternative also of a promise.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay, so what you can do when you're working with async await is, so first thing is, if you have a function like a my async, okay, and
Yeah.
you are making a API call inside this function. Okay, I am doing fetch http localhost 3001. So if I am using a promise, then what I have to do, I will use dot then, and all the work I have to do inside this dot then.
Mhm.
So for example, after getting the data from the server, from the API, I have to filter it, or I have to show it on the UI. All that part I will do inside this function, function, right? But
Yes.
async await async await removes this dependency. So what you can do, instead of using a promise, what I will do, const API data equals to await fetch and like this. So, and wherever I am using this await, I will make that function async. I will put one keyword called async. It will tell JavaScript, okay, he is using a async function here.
Uh-huh.
Actually, it should be before function. So this async keyword will tell JavaScript, okay, we are making some asynchronous calls inside this functions my async. Okay, so what this line number 4 will do, it will force the JavaScript to wait for this operation to complete. Okay, so let me give you a example with set timeout. For example, you have a set timeout, and inside this set timeout, I am writing console.log inside. Okay, and after that, I have something called console.log outside. Can you tell me what will be the output when I call this function? When I will call this function my async, what will be the output? Please tell.
Okay. Yes. First one, it will be outside, after then inside.
Inside, right?
Yes.
Outside, then inside,
Inside.
right?
Yes.
Because what
Yes.
is happening? JavaScript is not waiting for this. It is
Yes.
skipping this and it is going to line 7. We have already discussed about callback queue and all, right? So
Yes.
now I want that JavaScript should wait for this to execute.
What you?
JavaScript, I want that inside should be printed first and then outside should be printed.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So I can do a wait here.
Oh, get it now. Yes. Nice.
Now
Still same.
we can put here. Wait is only wait. Okay, because we are in this function inside the set timeout. So if I put here, then it will work. So first inside, then after.
After.
Okay. So await basically stops the execution at that moment. Okay. So
Yeah.
whenever we are making API calls, we will use a lot, or even when you are working with DB, when you are working with this one,
Node.js. Mhm.
Node.js, and you are connecting to the database, then this async await will be used a lot, a lot.
I understand. Yeah.
Okay. So just what you have to do outside the function, you have to write that keyword async, and whatever line you want to stop, okay, this is the asynchronous operation I am making. Please stop this line. Don't skip this line. You can put await outside that line.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
So this async await, callback, promises, all are used to handle asynchronous operations in JavaScript. Okay.
Mhm.
Async await. So like this. So you are making a API call, and what you can do, you can put await outside before this line, and you can put async outside this function.
Mhm.
So this you can use it when
Mhm.
connecting with DB, or when making API calls from front end, or when making database queries from Node.js to MongoDB or Cosmos DB, wherever. This async await is used a lot,
Uh-huh.
and the syntax is very easy.
Ah,
Okay,
nice.
no dot, then nothing, just outside the function put async, then await, then the API call.
Yeah. Usually in Axio, I'm using promise state.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
instead try to use async await.
That's why, I keep in my mind promise state, not async, not this one, not async
No,
way.
this is ES5, this is latest.
Okay, that's why.
Yeah, so I would prefer use this. And in my project also, I currently in the project that I am working for the client, I am using async await.
Uh-huh,
So
no
basically
problem.
we are connecting from Node.js to Cosmos DB, and we are making
Alright.
the database queries. We are using this async await.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes. And yeah, perfect.
So this was about asynchronous programming. Any doubts?
Yeah.
Any doubts in event loop, callbacks, promise, async await? And asynchronous
Not
programming is very, very important for you to understand.
all right. I'm gonna prepare very well.
Yeah, there will be many questions to you regarding this asynchronous programming.
All right. I
Okay.
have. there my code. I want to check.
So this was about asynchronous programming. So that day you were asking me something about REST operator, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So let me tell you REST operator also. See, this operator or is looks similar like dot 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 spread operator.
Yep.
Okay, but this is used only in the functions. So for example, I have a function
Uh-huh.
show details, and I know that I will get multiple arguments like price,
Multiple arguments. Uh-huh. Price.
yeah, like price and
I
product
can.
name,
Mhm.
okay, brand, okay, and
Time.
I am gonna to and I want to use them inside this function. Like console.log price, similarly console.log product name, okay.
Mhm.
So what I can do here, I can give dot dot dot
Mhm.
and maybe one parameter details,
Mhm.
okay, and here I can pass show details, and here I can pass multiple arguments like 100 comma my product
Mhm.
comma Nike, that is a brand.
Mhm.
So this details will contain all that. So you can see it is an array which contains three things: 100,
Got it.
my product, and Nike.
Mhm.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
this is called REST operator, and this is generally used with functions as arguments. To handle
Okay.
multiple arguments, you can use this. So it is not much asked or not much used, but yeah, sometimes if you have a lot of arguments, suppose you have made a function which is taking 15 arguments. So instead of
Wow.
writing 15 different things, you can write dot 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 my arguments and then my argument 0, 1, 2, 3 till 14
I get it.
will cover all your 15 arguments, right?
Mhm. I
So
understand.
this is
Wow.
yeah. So this is something called REST operator. So that is its practical implementation. Okay.
Yeah.
So now let us move to something called classes.
Let's do that.
So do you know what is a class? And in JavaScript, in React, there is something called class-based components.
Yes.
So what is a class? Any idea?
We can classify our function and we can manage that one with class names, or ID.
No.
No.
So
Okay.
so let us take a example of area. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So you want to you want to make some structure or make some infra in which
Mhm.
you have multiple objects of shape square, rectangle, or maybe some other shapes, and
Mhm.
you want to calculate their area, you want to calculate their parameter, and do these kind of things. Okay.
Mhm.
So what you can do, you can make one class, maybe class area. Okay. And class is always made with this keyword called class. C is small.
Mhm.
And area is the name of this class. Now inside this class, there are basically two things we declare. One is called members of the class, and one is called methods of a class. Methods are nothing but functions, and members are nothing but variables. But in terms of class definition, we call them members, and functions we call them methods.
Members and methods.
Members and methods. So now suppose we are talking about a rectangle. So obviously it will have two variables. One is breadth. You can give it a value, maybe 20, and length. And again, you can give it a value, maybe 30.
Mhm.
Okay. So these two are your members of this class area.
Mhm.
Now you want to calculate area of this rectangle. So what we can do, we can make one function, get area, like this.
Mhm.
And this will calculate area. Let me make a variable area equals to length into breadth. And when you want to access the members of this class, we have to use something called this dot.
Mhm.
So this dot length into this dot breadth, because
Mhm.
both are members of the class. So I will access using this keyword, this
Yes,
dot
yes,
length,
yes.
this dot breadth. Now suppose I have one function more, that is show area.
Mhm.
So let me make a variable here only, area equals to, or maybe just area, and here I will call this dot area equals to this dot length into breadth. And this show area function is printing the area. Console.log area of rectangle. And this is this dot area. So this is a class which is having three members, breadth, length, and area. And it is having two methods, get area and show area. Get area is calculating the area, while show area is printing the area.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so this is how we generally make a class which have some members, which have some methods. Okay, now the problem is this code that we have written, how to use it. We have made one class, but how to use it now?
How
Are
to
you there?
use it? We should
Yeah.
export and import.
So what we can do, we can make objects of this class. And it is very easy. What we can do, const rectangle 1 equals to new keyword. We will again use new keyword and our class name. What was our class name? Area.
area.
Like this.
Mhm.
Now you can access the method of this class, that is show area. Rectangle
Okay,
1
area.
dot show area, like this. So
Mhm.
if we run this, unexpected token equal to
But we didn't call console log in the last
no.
operation.
So constructor
How is we need construct.
So basically all the parameters, all the members that we are making in this class, we will define inside constructor.
Mhm.
It means now this class has three members. One is length, one is breadth, one is area.
Mhm.
So now if I run it, you can see area of rectangle is this length. Okay, because get area is not getting called. So
Because area you equal to 0.
so you can see now 600 is
Ah, yes. Oh, okay. That's the reason. Mhm.
because I am calculating the area now.
Mm.
Let me change it to get area. So this is a class which is calculating the area and it is printing this area.
Mhm.
Okay. So now what is this constructor function? So understand it carefully. Constructor function is a function which initializes your class members. And
Mhm.
whenever you make this object, whenever we do new area, on line 28, new area, this constructor function will automatically be called.
Mhm.
Okay, whenever you make a new object, automatically this constructor function will be the first thing that will be called. And this will be the same when we will learn class based components in React. The constructor will be the first thing that will be called in a class based component when we will be going through the life cycle of a class based component. There also we
Yep.
will see the same thing. Okay, and the advantage with constructor is, now suppose you want to make another object of this class, we can make 1,000 of objects. Okay, so consider a mechanism where you have a class, a student, which is calculating the, or maybe let me change to student only. So for suppose this is a class student, and we have three things here. One is the student name. One is student marks, and one is student grade. Okay, now suppose I will make 10 students. I have 10 students and I want to print the information of 10 students. Okay, this person is ABC, he is having this marks, this grade. This person is XYZ, he is having this percentage and this marks. This person is WB, he is having this name, he is having this marks, and he is having this grade. So what I will do, inside this constructor, I will pass three variables. One is name, one is marks, one is grade. And I will assign this name equals student name equals to name, student marks equals to marks and student grade equals to grade. And I will make one function show student details, and I will print here
Name
console.log
marks grade.
student and then his name, then we can use plus operator also when we are using multiple strings.
Oh, yes.
Student
Uh-huh.
then is
Or back
having
bracket, or what is it? Dollar sign, something like that.
that also we can use. So how to use that also I will tell you. So for example, we can use this student, then no need of this plus and all, then dollar and then curly brace like this. Student is having, then again dollar, this dot student marks, and then dollar this dot student grade.
Yeah, there is syntax issue a little bit. No, student's grade should be little capital. How can I explain? I don't know. Did you catch? Yeah.
Okay, so now what I can do of this class, which class? Student class. I can make multiple objects. So for example, const student 1 equals to new student, and I will pass name Rahul, his marks maybe 900, and his grade, that is A. And I will call student 1 dot show student details. That will print Rahul details. Similarly, I can make student 2. This time I will pass. This time I will pass maybe Ritu, marks is 700, grade is B, and it will be student 2, a new object. And when I print this, so you can see Rahul is having 900 and A grade, Ritu is having 700 and B grade. So like this, we can use classes. We can make multiple objects of these classes. And we can make them dynamic. Inside the constructor, you can pass the information. Whatever information you are passing at the time of initializing this class, at the time of making the object, this information we can use inside this constructor.
Yeah.
Okay. Any problem in understanding classes?
Sounds good for me.
Yeah, this class and object is a concept of object-oriented programming. So it is a concept of OOPS. So if you have heard OOPS, object-oriented programming language.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you have heard about Java, C++, these all works on classes concept. Class
Yeah.
and object, class and object.
And there is public and private.
Public
class.
and private, right, right.
Yeah, last class you
So
told me.
in JavaScript also you can make public and private. How? You can, I think, if you make a variable like this, hash
Wow.
name.
But you told me
This is
there
a-
is one way.
No, that,
two
that
way.
was in terms of functional. If you want to make private members in a class, then you have to use like this.
Haha. Okay. Can
Okay,
you
so
show
understand-
example?
Yeah, so basically what you can do, you can write hash. So for example, we have this dot student name. Now let me make it
This one.
student's name. So now student name is a private variable.
I understand. Mhm.
Let me
With hash.
private variables in JavaScript class. Yeah, like this.
Mhm.
So
Hmm.
by default,
With
these are
hash.
public, but if you want to make them private, then
Uh-huh.
you can use this hash.
Okay, I understand that. I'm gonna check out this one. It's not common question in interview, isn't it?
Yeah, no one will ask you.
Yeah.
In JavaScript interview, no one will ask you about this. When you are working with Java or C++, if you are a Java developer, then the interviewer will take you to classes and all. But in JavaScript, your interview will focus on closures, asynchronous, and little bit of classes. They will just check that do you know about what is a constructor, what is a class, and all. But basically, your interview will focus on more on functional things that we have discussed, like call, apply, bind, closures, then for let and where, then arrays, objects, how to compare objects, asynchronous things, what is promise, what is async await, these things.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
Yep.
And there is one thing called static. So what happens, and so for example, let me make a function only, static. So inside class you can make static functions. Okay, like this. Console dot
Static.
logs.
I saw that
I am-
keyword in life cycle method.
Right,
React.
right. So someone can ask you, what is a static method? So see, all the methods that are sitting in this class, we have to call them using the object. Right? I was
Yep.
making an object of this class, student1, student2, and then I was calling student1 dot show student details. Right? But if there is a static function, then you can directly call it using the class name. So I can call this my function using this class name. I can call this like student dot my func, and this will run also. This will not give an error. So you can see I am a static function is getting printed. Okay, so the advantage with static function is what?
I mean, why we need this static function?
See, in Java we need it a lot. In JavaScript we generally don't use these static methods and all. And so in Java, the advantages, so basically when we don't want to initialize the object of this class, so suppose there is a class and you don't have an object for it, so there is this function, static function, you can call this function and here you can initialize the object. Okay, so the advantage with this function is this function can be called using the class name. It means when I have not made an object, I can still call this function and I can initialize my objects, or I can do the remaining part of this class. So whenever without initializing the object, we want to do something, we can use these static methods, because these methods can be called using the class name. There is no object required for calling these methods or these variables.
I understand.
Okay, so this is about static method. Okay.
Yep.
Now, so we have learned how to make a class, how to call constructor, how to make functions, how to make methods inside the class. Now there is one concept called inheritance.
Oh, yes.
So I will just give you an overview today, and in the next class we will complete it.
No problem.
So inheritance is basically, now suppose we have another class. Okay. So let me change these things. Instead of marks or marks. Okay. So maybe I have another class, that is class student info. Okay. And this class is having maybe student address, and his ID. Now what I want, that inside student info class I have only the address and ID, but I should also have these variables: his name, his marks, his grade. So what I want, that the information that is sitting in the student class, I want it to be present or fetched here also inside student info. So what I can do, I can use a keyword called extends, and I will place this class name, that is student.
Wow.
So it means I have inherited, I have taken the members of student class inside student info class.
I get it.
The information, the variables, this all, show student detail function, these three members, static my function, everything is now a part of student info also.
Yep. And we're gonna use this words also here.
Now we can use these variables or these functions or these members inside student info also, because we have inherited the properties of this class student into student info.
I get it.
Okay, and student will now be called the parent class, and student info, the class which is inheriting, will be called the child class.
Yep.
Okay, the class which is taking the properties is called the child class. The class which is giving the properties is called the parent class. Okay, so this
Yep.
is called inheritance. When someone take the properties of another, inherit the properties. One class is inheriting the properties of other, and the challenge is only the variables, only the members and the methods which are public will be inherited.
Mhm.
If a member or if a method is private, then it won't be inherited. For example, if the student name was private, then this class student info won't be able to use it because it is a private variable. It is a private thing of student class. Student class won't give to anyone.
Okay, I get it.
That is something that student class will keep with itself. It will not give any to anyone. So for inheritance, your members and your method should be public. Okay.
Yep.
So this was all about today. So we have discussed a lot of things. First was promises, then async await, then classes, constructor, methods, members, objects, and then inheritance. Okay.
Yes.
So let's connect tomorrow then. We will complete this inheritance, and I will try to upload this video
It
as
will
soon
be
as
great.
as soon as it completes. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Okay then. Thanks for your time. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you. I already sent it. Probably you're gonna see in the
Yeah. No issue. No issue.
yeah.
Thank you so
Uh,
much.
Have a good night. Thank you. Thank you. Don't
Thank you.
forget to upload, please.
Yeah. Please, I will upload.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.